Hey Amit, welcome back. How's it going?
All good, man. All good. How you been? How's life treating you these days?
Life is treating me the same, and
Yeah,
it's always good to catch up with you.
yeah,
Like we are seeing each other every few days almost.
yeah. I know it's good to be doing this series for Lenovo. Unfortunately, it's at an end, so we'll go back to our normal weekly schedule. But
That's true.
as part of the collaboration with Lenovo, really excited to bring this
Yeah,
final part for the series to
that's
everybody.
true. A Shunya One special.
Yeah.
It's always great to say that, and I think it's been an interesting conversation. These last two chapters have been very interesting. Chinmoy has been great, sharing
Mhm.
a lot of insight with us about
Yeah.
not just what Lenovo does, but the industry in general, right? About how the world is changing. Remote management is so critical. Remote deployment is important. Companies are all managing stuff online. It's a whole new chapter, I would say, in the IT space. And today I'm interested to talk about closing that out in
Mhm.
how everything actually ties together in a very secure way, because more than ever now, security is a big thing, because we're
Yep.
all sitting at home and our devices are usually
At home
designed
with
for a
us.
work environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's really interesting. So, for those of you who missed the first or second part of this special series that we're doing, Chinmoy Ghatak is the head of services, sales, and relationship business at Lenovo, and he's been an amazing guest to to talk about these kinds of things with. So, do check those out if you missed them. But if you haven't missed them, then please stay tuned. This is going to be a great
Let's
conversation.
Absolutely, let's jump right into it. Hello, Chinmoy. How are you doing? Welcome back to our show.
Hi, Shiladitya. Thank you very much. I'm good. And hi, Amit.
Hi, welcome back. So glad to have you back again.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
You're the
and
new professional podcaster at Lenovo.
exactly what I was going to say. I think with each
I'm.
conversation, not only are we learning more, but I think you'll decide that you should be doing this more regularly.
I don't know, but I'm more comfortable than what I was in the first first time.
That's how it happens. And before you know it, I think Lenovo will be asking you to be on a lot more shows. that's what that's what will likely happen. And I hope no more of your Saturdays go away in this, of course.
Okay, let's see.
But thank you so much for obviously sharing so much with us over the past two episodes. And we're here also to continue a little bit of the conversations that we were having, and also to go into a little bit more of detail around the things we haven't yet talked about, uh, which are sort of overarching on the topics that we were discussing. We've discussed how remote has become the way of life for large companies, how Lenovo as a turnkey partner is able to support large organizations, where uh, you can help them get onboarded with their IT requirements, you can help them do remote management, you can help them manage data and hard asset management at scale, all through your various services. But today, if we can talk about how is all of this done while keeping the interests of interests of IT companies, and their interests of security, and their interests of reliability, all in check, because this is a new world, especially now with the pandemic. And this is where while companies are using services like yours from trusted partners like yourselves, how do you ensure that everything is airtight and secure? And how is uh, how can you ensure that it all works with all the promises that you have of increased efficiency, of low total cost of ownership, and everything else?
Okay. So, I get three key points on which you want me to speak. One, I hear increased efficiency and total cost of ownership point of view. And you also talk about security, safety layer. How do we build into uh, how do we support organizations to have that security layer or safety layer, right?
Right.
Get it. So let me start with the efficiency part of it. um, See, uh, first and foremost is the hardware should be good. Why when I say so, people many times do look into the CPU speed, or at times they will look into RAM, hard disk volume, and they may also look into the chipset. But the point
Mhm.
is, these things are something like to compare like a head or heart or kidney that way. But a person to be very effective and efficient, the muscles also needs to be equally efficient, right? So point is that it is not only CPU, it is not only chipset, not only the RAM and hard disk, how the whole thing is designed, how the whole thing is working together to provide a fast and a very efficient uh, response to the user. That's what is important. So efficiency is coming from a faster hardware, smooth operating one, and it should not give any problem during the working period. Like, it should not suddenly throw blue screen, it should not suddenly have some nagging issue. Having a good hardware is really really very important. This is something not only CPU speed, and it is something not only memory and the chipset, it is the overall design. And another interesting point I may say is ergonomic keyboard. Like, if you are working 6 8 hours on a laptop, or even if a keyboard of a desktop, how ergonomic the keyboard is, the angle of the keyboard and the key spacing and the tactileness of those, these are very important. And we do have
Yeah.
products which is having good number of patents behind this things, which may sound small, but they are not small. They are very important from the
Yeah.
efficiency point of view, right? Then comes flex design. For example, if I go as a sales point of view, if I go to a customer place and I want to give them a presentation, but I see there is no monitor there, I see no projector there, and there are some 4 people or 4 5 people there around a medium sized table. Now, I have my own laptop, I have to use that to give them my presentation, right? What if I fold that into a tent and it is having a touch? So I make it a tent, and it is facing the customers who are at the other side of the table, and I use my finger to move from slide to slide, slide to slide, so it becomes very
Mm.
comfortable for me to do the presentation, right? Now, it's part of efficiency. Like, I did had situation where I went to a customer place and it was really difficult to present it when I did not had a yoga laptop. But later, when I purposely got a yoga laptop so that such presentation becomes much easier for me and much more efficient. Okay, so
Yeah.
then efficiency point of view, there's a lot of hidden man-hour which is there within any organization. uh, that can start with when the new machine coming, and I think we talked about imaging in a very big way
Correct.
earlier. So the more activity can be pushed into the factory level, uh, that definitely builds into efficiency because it reduces that man hour cost which is hidden. Correct.
Right.
So pushing things and also outsourcing things which is not their primary activity. If an organization is into finance, let them handle finance. Why should they handle IT? Let IT be
Mm.
handled by somebody else. Put
Mm.
proactive measures, various remote device management tools. So these are the things which builds into efficiency within the regular day-to-day functioning. And in case there is a problem, there is a break fix that requires a support, we can bring in our premier support, which provides a faster response right from the help desk level to while fixing the issue at the customer end. So these things, then also suppose hard disk has crashed and a new image has to come in, we can host the image at a cloud level. I think this we talked about. So these are all
Yeah.
part of the efficiency part of it, right? Now, when it talks about cost, total cost of ownership, all these things, if it is done in an efficient manner, it finally provides a lower total cost of ownership. And another important aspect I would like to highlight here is buying hardware through capex route vis-a-vis buying devices as a service. There is a huge financial benefit, and not everybody understand that. Many organizations we have seen they try to understand it through IRR model, but these things are better understood through something called net present value. Now, I don't want to have this is definitely not related to finance discussion, but very quickly, if we look at a net present value point of view, organization can have a benefit of almost 30% over 3-year period. And if even if we look at IRR model, they can find that they are paying 10% plus less compared to what they would have paid if they are buying it upfront. So these are financial discussions, but once people look into that, only then they understand the benefit of it, which actually helps in their total cost of ownership. Okay,
Correct.
so I think
How much of a difference would that kind of make, right? Making the right financial decision. Well, make a 5% difference, 10% difference, 15% difference. Like, is that not readily apparent?
no, it will be more than that, as I mentioned. If they look at
Okay.
from net present value point of view, we have seen calculations shows they can have around 30% benefit.
Oh,
If they
wow.
look at it from IRR point of view, they can see they are paying less by almost 10 to 13% compared to
Okay.
they would have paid. So it's a way of looking into the finance portion, and somebody most of the organization should look at it through net present value model, but some likes to look at it from IRR model. So I just touched upon this, and once there is a finance to finance talk, things will become much clearer to them.
Right. True. Probably not our, probably not the best for us to really dive deeply into that because, yeah, we'll get lost very quickly. But I thought it was interesting the way you brought that up.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch upon that so that people get triggered that, oh, this is something to look at and this is something can be
Mhm.
beneficial.
Cool.
Right.
Okay,
So
so
on the second part, right, the security
hmm,
part, I
correct.
think that's where
Yeah,
I was also
let me
interested.
let me address that. See, when you're talking about security, uh, there are three core pillars of a good defense in-depth strategy. Okay, first is that hardware built with security designed in it. The second is software written with security in mind. And
Hmm.
third is organization security policies. Now, you know, security begins with the hardware itself. Like hardware is always going to be the basis on which software runs, right?
Right.
And if the your basis is not secure, then you run into problems at the software layer. Now, many organizations, they're allowing employees to bring in their own devices. They bring your BYOD, bring
BOD.
your own
Yeah.
device, right? Now, if a device is there which is not built for enterprise uses, and it can introduce some inherent security risks. For example, often consumer grade laptops comes with minimal hardware security features, often nothing more than a firmware level password lock. Now,
Mm.
that's not enough to prevent theft of data, especially if the computer is lost or stolen. Security built in by design from the very beginning is absolutely core requirement for the basis of the security solution that which you are talking about, right? So
Hmm.
computers that lack enterprise level security features are vulnerable to the number of hardware focused attacks. Like if you are uh, if you have kept your laptop in a sleep mode, Okay,
Hmm.
and you left it unattended, then the US through the USB key data can be stolen, through the USB port data can be stolen, right? So
Wow.
that there is a that has to be protected at a hardware and firmware level. Like
Hmm.
there are malwares that can change the firmware while the operating system is running. Now allowing it to stay uh, even after a full reinstallation of the software, that malware with which is that firmware which is affected by the threat, the malware, it will remain, it will not go.
Hmm.
So these are something which can be fixed at a hardware and firmware level. Then encrypted hard disk is prone to theft if attacker somehow
Yeah.
access the machine and go to the password. Then remote management of the password, this we all say that password needs to be changed, right, within certain period. Now if every laptop has got a administrative password and there is a user password, right? Now the
Yeah.
administrative password is in control of the administrator. So when you are working in a remote environment, working from home, it's not easy for the IT administrator to change the administrator password of every machine in a frequent in a defined interval. Now
Yeah.
there also requires a tool mechanism by which it can be done. We have something called RSVP by which you support IT team for that. So what I'm trying to tell you is that uh, security is required at a hardware firmware level. Obviously software written security in mind, and there can be various software tools which is going to help organization protect themselves. And we discussed in past that normally the protection that organization had is a proxy server, and they had antivirus at a user level,
Yeah.
antivirus which is database driven. And we also talk that if the signature of the thread is not in the database, then the machine may be exposed, right? So
Yeah.
it requires a different type of the threat arresting tool, security shield, where today it is the artificial intelligence and machine learning, this thing comes into picture. So it will check the performance of the applications in the machine. And if it finds any application is suddenly having a cancerous growth sort of thing, or some misbehave
Misbehavior. Yeah.
happening, it will arrest it there. So uh, so as I said, I'll just repeat, there are three layer of activities involved. One is hardware firmware level. It should be designed with security in mind. Software layer should be designed security in mind, and there can be s- uh, proper software to protect the organization. And the third is policies, organization policies, what type of password they are allowing, in what frequency they would like to change the password. There can be various type of policies which helps protect the what I say, bring in the higher security aspect within the organization.
So does this apply mostly to larger organizations, or does the same apply to small businesses and how they would approach this kind of thing? Are there different things that they should be doing, or is it the same kind of?
See here, here I don't think there is any differentiation should be done, because security protection for everybody is uh, requires at the same level. It's not that some people can take two punches on the face, some people can take four punches on the face, but then punches are not at all acceptable to anybody, right? So
Right. So
No. So definitely, it's a, I would say all organizations should think so seriously about everything of security, especially the, let's say, the three pillars that you mentioned. But I'd like to ask specific to the kind of services that Lenovo provides, right? You obviously focus on all these three, given that you own all of these three layers in a typical deployment. So What do you do? What kind of, let's say,
Okay.
services do you as Lenovo provide, which ensures these three pillars are protected?
Yeah, see, we call something, we have a name for that, that is Think Shield. It's a shield. It's not one particular product. Like it is a combination of a lot of activities in that hardware. In the hardware level, we have a camera with a shutter, so that
Mm. Okay.
you know that the camera can be hacked, correct?
Yes,
Even
yes. So
so
it's a
the
physical shutter. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I
there's a
have that on
physical
my
shutter,
external
right?
webcam.
In the same way, if you are in an airport in a area where people are moving around, somebody can peep over your shoulder and read what is there on the screen. So we have a mechanism under that which can actually provide a screen which you can read, but people slightly behind cannot read what is there on the screen. So then there is a protection available where people cannot really pass on threat or steal data through the USB
Mhm.
port, right? We have something called a secure PC, which is a combination of hardware configuration and the BIOS level configuration that provides additional security at the hardware level and firmware level, as I'm talking about the first layer which you are saying, right? And the
Mhm.
in the second layer, if I come in the software level, see, customers when they're using certain applications, the safety security of the applications is something on which we cannot talk about, right? It is totally their prerogative, and those who are supplying it, that's in their area. But we can definitely provide a secure EDR, that is uh, it is basically a threat they detect and arrest any threat which is coming from outside. So that artificial intelligence based EDR system, which is for threat arresting and detection and arresting it, uh, so that type of software, something we can provide the tools, and we can manage that also on behalf of the organization, provide periodic reporting, whatever is the engagement terms and conditions that we will have. So people can have a peace of mind, organization can have a peace of mind, a peaceful mind in that aspect, in that area. So that's the way we can help organizations.
Okay.
Policies are something that is definitely the prerogative of the organizations, but we can guide them, we can help them with our suggestions there.
Right.
Cool.
And
So
do you actually also see this, that obviously, the reason behind having such services and Think Shield and everything is because there are threats out there, right? uh, do you actually see this, or in your experience, maybe you can share that, uh, you know organizations which are doing using services from you are actually being protected all the time from threats? Like, are there attacks like this happening, for obviously, I'm sure it happens in large companies and large organizations, but is everyone vulnerable to this? Is even small businesses, startups, they're also vulnerable to attacks which are happening more frequently?
yes, yes, big yes. See, very recently I had seen a report in Times of India. It was a banner report sort of thing, which talks about various countries, European countries, Japan, certain Asian countries, including India. And it showed that over last 1 year during pandemic period, over certain period, the amount of threat that Indian organizations has uh, faced, the hacking or ransomware attack type of thing which has happened. So the percentage of that in India is not at all small. I don't remember the exact figure, but it is quite high. Point one. Point two is that many organizations take a long time to understand that they have there is a threat within the organization. uh, it can it can start as small as stealing the contact email ID and certain basic information of the employees, uh, apart from the data which it can be stolen. So the the survey says these threats are very much there in India, and you have also probably heard government websites, certain websites were attacked, and they were
Sure.
down for some time. So the way that became a news, but when it happens in a private segment, organization do not really publish that I have been
Correct.
hacked, I have been uh, when my data is stolen. They will not tell you that, but such things are there. And how does this how does those threats perception, I mean, where do we stand in respect to that? We see, there is an organization, it is called MITRE, MITRE. MITRE, it's a non-profit organization which is a which which checks the threat perception across the globe for
Okay.
organizations. And they also do publish report on how various such software tools which is available in the market, how they're performing. Like, it will provide a matrix, and then matrix will show that so and so software, it passed x number of threads. So then there will be another tool which has passed y number of threads. So they map all the tools with respect to how they can handle the threat. And incidentally, the software solution which we propose to our customers, it's obviously a Lenovo tie-up with the organization. Yes. That has not even passed one single threat as per the MITRE report. So
Wow.
I think we are on a solid ground, and which is proven by a third-party non-profit organization data.
So you're basically taking care of this before it gets anywhere further, right? Like, so early intervention, essentially.
Yeah, it's a protection. It's a shield
Yeah.
that will not let any threat pass through.
Interesting. Very
Even the
cool.
new ones as they come up, basically.
Yeah,
So far.
because it is artificial intelligence based, it's not database driven. It will figure it out whether the what is coming is a threat or not, and arrest it.
That's
So
insanely amazing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
No, go ahead,
sorry,
Shiladitya,
go
please.
ahead, Amit. Go ahead.
I was just like, can you, without naming names, right? I mean, like, I know you wouldn't want to name customer names and such, but without naming names, can you like give us an example of something where something like this got detected earlier, which could have turned into like a major issue for somebody?
Um, uh, okay, let me put it this way. When many a times when we do a proof of concept, okay, we s- uh, can introduce threat and show that they are protected with our solution.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
Uh,
of
so,
course.
so threats are there. It is all everywhere. It is there. Only thing is, you will come to know when you understand. You know it. So
Right.
long as you do not know, you do not know. That's the thing.
Right.
Cool.
And again, a lot of this is obviously because you've built a lot of platform level software. You've tied up with, let's say, other vendors who provide these top grade, capabilities and security. But just as a open, advice, I know you talked about the three pillars. You talked about the kind of protections one should take, but what what can a small business today do as a company or even a small startup uh, who is just sort of getting into uh, the online world, doing all their services online, everything is online, business is online, their own employees are online. uh, the best practices which you mentioned, anything else you would like to say that to keep in mind, like as an organization?
Yeah. Oh, first I can say is that invest in a good hardware, which is designed for security in mind. That is going to give benefit over a long term. That is going to bring in efficiency, less or zero downtime. So all these things are important, right?
Right.
Second is that put a put a proper security tool, which is going to, depending on the organization's what was a financial strength and their requirement or whatever. I don't want to comment about that, but uh, put a put the right security tool with, it should be a very conscious decision. It should not be a decision like, okay, I need to have an antivirus, just put a known antivirus and just leave it that way. The third is define security related policies and see that employees are following those policies. So you can have policies, but if the employees are not following those policies and you don't have a mechanism to monitor that, then it's a problem. You can define XYZ policy, but you don't have a mechanism to monitor it. Is as good as not having that policy, right? So,
Correct.
so these are the things
Monitor and
probably,
enforce.
yeah, important.
Awesome. I mean, like, this has just been so informative, right? Just all this
Yeah.
stuff, learning about this has just been like incredible.
Yeah, it's these are things which you, of course, as anyone in the IT space may have come across it or read about it, and we hear, like Chinmoy, like you mentioned, right? We hear about data breaches, we hear about how large organizations do things in the online world today, and now it's been more than a year of pandemic, so there is no way that people have not at least thought about the fact that people are working from home and their companies are vulnerable in some way or the other. So everything you shared over the last 3 episodes with us is so relevant. I think whether or not a company, or whether or not a business is just a 3-person business or a 300-person company, these are all things which are important for them to know, all the way from starting with easy onboarding, deployment of their assets, protecting of their assets, and of course ensuring that their employees are working efficiently in spite of everything around them. So I think it's been incredibly informative and enriching for us to get into the depth of some of these topics, and especially obviously from the lens of what Lenovo as a company and as a brand stands for and via its services. So really appreciate all the feedback and all the information that you've been able to share with us.
Thank you, Shiladitya, and thank you, Amit, for allowing me to be with you and talk about this. Thank you.
It's been our pleasure, and we're grateful that you did this. I think that this will be really, really helpful to a lot of the listeners of the show, especially people who are looking to start up. You spoke initially about how startups should work with this, and I just think that this is really, really useful stuff for people. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chinmoy. It was great having you, and of course, like I said, I think you will soon be doing more podcasts, wherever that may be, from the sounds of how this
Please
one
do
went.
come back to us. Please do come back for us as well. Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, let's see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.